Well, welcome back, and thank you for coming to our Friday training, Powered by Ground, focusing on new home sales. We believe that new home sector is a very strong complement to the broker business on many levels. And if you take a look at our past videos about why new home sales, what new home sales does to your business as a broker, the things you learn in new home sales like product, builders, developers, new community, all these highlights that you as a broker build are very phenomenal tools or carrots to bring back to your clients. And I think this is when you even send a newsletter on a weekly basis, you should have a category on what is happening, how is our county developing, what areas are growing, and looking at your pool of prospects, you should be throwing those carrots out. And we mentioned the stats, and I'll mention again, that about 70% of buyers go through open houses that are ran by new home sales. And we say if your clients are there, you should be there. If your clients are looking at new homes, so should the brokers. We should be associating ourselves with the new development that are taking place. Our goal here is that more and more brokers would slowly move their business into this space, understanding that even a simple marketing that they do on a weekly basis could impact the next transaction. Just a highlight update like, hey, this builder is offering this as concessions. Reach out to me and I'll tell you more about it. Any of these aspects of compliments on your weekly newsletter will trigger opportunity. When we even reverse engineered and looked at marketing, everything that was associated with new homes has such a higher marketing return for your dollar. So if you just do a reel of a community or a reel of a new home listing and then try to push it through social media, you're going to get so much more views in new homes. So this is why we do a training on it. We believe very heavily of how new home sector complements our business, but also we believe that brokers need to build their business in this sphere and keep growing and understanding this sector more and more. Kind of the thought of the day is, what is your immediate need in your business? What is the immediate need of your client? By following the immediate need, we follow for solutions and resolutions. So we have to determine what is the need and help our clients get there. We have to figure out what is the immediate need for my business and help myself get there. So for example, if I want to close one transaction more a month, what is everything that has to do with that? What has to do with me just closing one more deal? Do I have to make more phone calls? Do I have to run more open houses? Do I have to go through my database 5 times? Do I have to revamp my social media? What has to meet that need? And this is how we have to ask our questions. Okay, if I want to do this, this is my immediate need. How do I get there? Or what people need to be involved to help me get there? Or what team, maybe in our office, that if you join will help you get there? Whatever pull and push that's going to help you get there, what is your need? Same thing with your clients. If your clients have a need, what all associated partners are going to help me facilitate this need? And who do I have to get involved? And this is why more people are getting me involved in transactions and so forth, because we're trying to ramp up new homes, but they're pulling us in. Why? Because they see this is a need of a client, and they're trying to source people and information to meet that immediate need. And this is very crucial. This is a huge sector of our job, is just to meet the needs of people. Our previous lesson, if you were here with us online or here in the class, we were talking about prospecting. Prospecting is the fundamental pillar of our business. And I have to ask yourself and myself, what are my prospecting tools? What is it? Door knocking. There's only like 5 or 6 of them, but what is it? Mailers, outbound calling, running marketing for inbound calling. Is it cold calling? You have to figure out what is your means of prospecting. What are you doing to get yourself out there in front of your clients? Is it emails? We have brokers in our office who send a bunch of emails, and that's how they build their business. And they do a phenomenal job. It takes a lot of time. You build your database, you build your campaigns, you build your trigger words. Now they're using AI to figure out what's the best script, and they push those emails. And they push, and then people are responding, and they slowly are cultivating those people who are responding and creating transactions. I see people using social media. I know a couple brokers in our office who started, and they just take social media and they start pumping their social media. They start to figure out who are all their friends on different platforms and what they need to do and what reels they need to show and how people are responding, and they're cultivating using social media. Other people like myself, I like to do a lot of outbound calling. So I just sit there for maybe an hour or 2 each day and just call. I like to be on the phone. Now we're using some other means of maybe, sending an email with a small clip, 30-second clip, just me in front of the camera saying what I want to say, and we send that, via email. But it's so important that we figure out what are our means of prospecting. You can try to use them all, but it's best that you use 1 or 2 and become very, very efficient at them. And some of the prospecting means will actually cater to kind of who you are as a person. So we have to figure that out. And if we don't, what we're going to do is I call it the machine gun approach. You're shooting at everything and nothing. We have to hone down and become more laser focused. Okay, this is my first means of prospecting, and this is my second means of prospecting, and this is my third means of, and then you stop. Like, you don't do anything else. Because you understand, like, these 3 or these 4 are your best way of sourcing business. So figure out your prospecting techniques and work on that. Today's lesson of the day, we're going to talk about the vehicle. And why I talk about the vehicle is because it's so easy to associate. It's like transportation. The vehicle gets you from place 1 to place 2, or from place A to place B. And people always moved around, meaning people used to be on foot, then donkeys, then horses, then chariots, then, and then now cars and motorcycles and all this. So what I'm saying is, we always, by human nature, we always like to go from place 1 to place 2, or destination A to destination B. Well, guess what? Your business deserves that same attention. You need to go from destination A of your business to destination B. What is that destination B? It's all about what is the vehicle that's going to get you there. You have to figure out what is your vehicle that's going to get you there. And how we build this vehicle, that's what we're going to talk about today. How do I help build that vehicle that gets me from where I am in my business today to where I'm going? And a lot of brokers in the slower time or slower seasons, because real estate is very cyclical, it goes up and it goes down. In the down moments, they spend a lot more time in education. And this is very crucial, because every time the market shifts, I spend more time educating myself. I spend more time reading. I spend more time analyzing. I spend more time trying to figure out where the market is going. And all of us have to do that. So pre-COVID, we had one market. During COVID, we had another market. After COVID, we had a third market. And now the after effects of COVID, we have a fourth market. So in the last 5 years, the shifts have happened so fast, us brokers going from like, hey, I can't sell this house, to, hey, it sold in 2 hours, to now, hey, it needs to be on the market for another 2 months. So, and we talked about this in a couple of our masterminds, that in the last 5 years, we went through like 4 shifts. And it's hard because you have to educate yourself every time the market's shifting, because you have to educate your clients. But that is part of the vehicle. Like, how do I move no matter what the shifts do? What is my vehicle? And the first step is you got to dream. You got to dream big. When you go into business, you can't just go into business and wing it. Like, we go in business because we want more time. We want, I don't know, everybody has their dream of what they're trying to achieve by being an entrepreneur in business. When I went into business, time was more important than money, even when I started. So I wanted to own my time. But then I had no idea what to do with my time. So I started to study, what do you do with your time in business? So I went through a whole hurdle, and then year 3, I paid to get mentored on how to be more accountable in my time. And then people ask me 20 years later, how can you get so much done? Well, it just didn't happen overnight. But the reason I went into this business because I wanted to own my own time. And year over year, I built this vehicle to where I'm working in the same time frame that all of you are working in, but I get more stuff done. Why? Because my vehicle just goes so much faster. The engine's bigger, the tires are more upgraded. Everything about that vehicle has been refined so it can go fast. So in the same 10 hours or 8 hours, my time that is spent is giving me greater return year over year over year. But that was my dream. When I went into business, I wanted to own my time. Like my first year when I got married with my wife, I spent almost 3 months traveling, but I could still do business because I wanted to control my time. Yes, every year that I went to vacation, I had to work. That's part of the sacrifice. But I'd rather be in Hawaii working than in my office. So it's always a trade-off. It's not like you get the best of both worlds, but I'd rather be, with my family in Florida or Texas or Arizona or wherever, and I still have the opportunity to work. So it's all about controlling the time. That was my dream. And then I got mentored around the dream. That's your goals. So what did I do in my goals? I said, you know what? There's people who live the same 8 hours I do, but they get so much more done. What does that mean? That means their vehicle looks so much different than mine. Their vehicle looks so different than mine. And I had to work on the vehicle. There's a good quote we always work more on yourself than on your business. But the goals help fulfill my dream is owning my own time. So if I want to have, a 2-hour lunch with a client, I'm going to have a 2-hour lunch. If I want to have a 15-minute with my client, then I'm going to have 15 minutes. If the client can't wait for me, it's okay, they can move on. But I'm going to control my time. And then when you when you study real estate, they say, even in Gary Keller's book, listing leverage, right? And leads. So he says you want to control your time, you have to build these 3 things, listings, leads, listings, and leverage. So you're like, oh, so my vehicle needs to reflect these 3 things because it contributes to the dream of owning your time. So whatever your dream is, I know guys who want to own 1,000 doors for rental. And I go, if that's your dream, what does the vehicle look like? So that means they need partnerships because sometimes when you start off, you don't have capital. You need to figure out what a property management company is because you got to manage 1,000 doors. You can't just wake up and, have 20 pipes leaking on you in 20 different homes because that'll just drive you crazy. So what I'm saying is you build the vehicle around your dream. I wanted to own my own time. So my first 2 years real estate, I didn't make a lot of money because that was not part of the big dream. The big dream was to own my time. Money came in later, but for some people who need money and that's their dream, like they need to make money, I see that's why some brokers, their first year, they're rookies because they have a bigger dream. They're dreaming about making that money. And which is absolutely fine. Then their goals and their vehicle, that's what it looks like. Their vehicle reflects the direction they're going. There's actually one of my coaches always said, what defines you is not who you are, but the direction you're going. So that's really what defines you. What direction are you going? So today, 20 years later, I still cherish my time. That is the direction I'm going. I want to cherish my time. One of the people who mentors me, after like a year, she's like, you know what? You protect your time really well. I was like, that's my vehicle. It's my time. Like, I'm going to cherish my time. How much I give it to each person, to meetings, to cameras, to whatever, I control my time. It's always been my dream. So my dream has that is the reflection of the vehicle. Your goals, everything that has to do with goals is fulfilling this dream. And I want you to dream bigger, meaning you will never rise above your own expectations. So I say just set them higher all the time. If you want to close only one deal a month, say I want to close 3 deals a month, because once you close one, but if you say I want to close one, you're limiting yourself of the resources to get to 3. So your goals should always reflect a higher level of expectation. Raise the expectation to 3, and if you close 1, but you've learned so many more things of how to get to 3, so 1 will be such an easier goal to meet. But your goals are, again, back to your dreams. To dream, you have to set time away from life, from business, from social media, from entertainment, to dream, to really figure out what is it that you want today out of your life, and what is it that you want 20 years from today out of your life. Because you cannot scrape your vehicle every 30 days. The minute you start building your vehicle, you can't be like, I don't like this. You have to dream big so you can understand this is going to reflect life itself. And this is very important because you cannot just scrape your vehicle every single time you get into building mode or setting goals. So when I met people who made $20 an hour, and I did a class on this, I was like, that's cool, that guy makes $20 an hour. Then I met people in my life, they're like, in 1 hour he makes $80. Then I met people who in 1 hour they make $100. Then I was like, this guy in 1 hour makes $2,000. So this guy works for 1 hour, he makes $2,000. I have to work for 2 weeks to make $2,000. What's different? So you start to figure out that, and that's why time became such, from the very start of my business, time was the biggest formula. How can this one person in 1 hour make $2,000? So I started to reverse engineer throughout my whole career, building the vehicle. What does it take to get there? What levels, what education, what people, what spheres of people, who else makes this money? So if doctors make, $500 an hour, you want to hang out at least with one doctor because he's making $500 an hour. If you meet a broker who makes $200 an hour, that broker should be part of your goals. And then number 3, we're going into category 3, is solving problems. The biggest problem you got to solve is solving your own problem first. Building the vehicle. If you can build the vehicle for yourself, you can train other people to build their vehicles. You have to learn how to solve problems. And one of the greatest techniques of solving problems is reverse engineering. Looking at other people's success and figuring out how they got there or what contributed to them getting there, and working your formula backwards. They did an experience. They gathered students at one of the universities, and that was the whole class. It's just problem solving. And what they did is they took problems from different sectors like engineering, finance, whatever. And they threw these problems at these students, and they would give them 2 weeks to solve these problems. And then in 2 weeks, they would mastermind. And this is why mastermind is so crucial, because in masterminding, you're actually learning how to solve problems. You have a problem, you have a case study, you have a situation, you have a circumstance, and now you're bouncing this idea off of other people in other situations and other circumstances. This is why I always talk to a lot of brokers, even in our own office. Why? And I go, hey, you know what? I had this case study, or I had this situation, or I have this client. What do you think about this? So what I'm doing is I'm trying to figure out problem-solving skills. And problem solving is going to help you fulfill these two other pillars, your dreams and your goals. Because all of us will end up in a dead end. All of us will hit a wall. All of us will come to a low point. All of us will understand that the resources that I carry and I have are not enough to help me move to the next place where I'm trying to go as the vehicle. So you start to, this is why I agree, again, masterminding is so crucial, because you're like this group in this university. They took, this group of people, they did research, they did study, they came back and they kept coming back until they could figure out solutions for the problem that was given to them. They said it was the most rewarding thing those students did in their university, in their studies. They said it was one of the best skills they could ever learn, is how to solve problems. Problem solving. When you read different biographies and people get stuck or lost or whatever, and their survival skills kick in. I call it survival skills. It's amazing when your survival skills kick in what people are able to do. How they're able to survive in the desert, how they're able to survive in the forest, how they're able to survive in the jungle. When your problem-solving skills kick in, it's amazing where your vehicle can truly take you. For example, they say you're five people away from, let's throw a really popular name out there, whatever. Say you're 5 people away from Donald Trump. So how's your vehicle going to get there? So for example, I put a dream. I want to meet Donald Trump. That's the dream. It's crazy because 4 days ago, I was sitting by a person who showed me that one of his people, somebody called him from Texas. He was seeking private money capital, and the guy had a photo with himself being by Donald Trump. So what I'm saying is, okay, if I made that my dream, what's my goal? My thought process is I'm only 5 or 6 people away from meeting this person. That's really the rule of thumb. You're only 5 people away, 5 or 6 truly people away from hitting your dream, or people assisting you in your dream. So the goal is you have to find these 5 or 6 people. Then the problem solving is when you meet these people, what are you talking about? You have to solve that problem. How am I going to be valuable to these people when I meet them? And how are these people going to be valuable to me? So when I wanted to control my time, I set goals. I started to assess people who made $80 an hour, $100 an hour, and then I started to find people who were making thousands of dollars an hour. I started to understand that is the objective of the goal. It's not to work more, but actually work less. But there's formulas to get there to helping fulfill my dream, which was my time. And you could say, who sets that as a dream? But it was my dream. So I'm going to share my life. So it was time. Then I looked at people. So what does this mean? That means I could work 4 hours a day instead of 12 hours a day for $80 an hour. So then it's a mathematical situation. Then I solve problems. I look at this and I go, what do I need to change in my life to get there? So I signed up for coaching. I figured out that, I need to learn numbers. I need to start talking to people who are at least 3 to 5 steps ahead of me. You start to solve your problem. What was your problem? What was my problem? To save my time. To control my time. And year over year, the vehicle was slowly being developed. And people now say, you get so much stuff done in 8 hours. Yeah, but I go look at my Evernote 10 years ago. I didn't even know what to write on it. Now, every day I have tasks that I create for myself. And I've been running this kind of a high performance life for the last almost 10 years. But it didn't start with like, oh, the vehicle. The vehicle was nothing, and I started to build it. And people said, like, if you want to get a lot of stuff accomplished tomorrow, you have to start writing everything down the day before. Okay, what a great wisdom advice. So I was like, okay, if this guy said that, that means I have to start doing that. So then you turn it into a habit. So every day I write tasks that I want to achieve the next day. And the psychological aspect is once you program your subconscious mind to achieve those things, what happens is you sleep on it, and then the next morning, your subconscious mind starts to look for those things. So if I say, like, tomorrow, I need to talk to 5 people, and I write that down today, the chances is today I'll probably get those 5 people. I'll find them. I'll get in touch with them. But why you do it the night before is because the subconscious mind, you program it, so the next morning, you're not putting as much energy towards it, but it's getting done. And I'll tell you, consciously, it gets done. Like today, if you get a flat tire, like all of you, we all come out of our parking lot, we all have flat tires. So in the immediate need is to fix your tire. No, look, we all have goals. Now we got to fix our tires. And then we're all kicking into solve problem. We're all getting our Google Maps. We're all like, hey, who's the cheapest guy? Do we got, on-call service? Can this guy show up because we got 5 tires? Then we're like, hey, let's, throw in a discount. Because he needs to fix 5 tires, maybe we can get a good, So we're in like 30 minutes, we'll figure it out. But because we have a need, and then we kick in the problem solving. And we got the best discount. We got one guy showing up and fixing 5 tires all at once. And we found the fastest guy who can get it done in 1 hour. So in 1 hour, we're done. But the next time that happens, guess what happens? I just go straight to that guy. Will it happen? Yeah, the chances is in, 5 years, I might have another flat tire. But what I'm saying is this problem-solving technique that just happened once increased the chances of the vehicle going so much faster the next time it happens. And this is what you start to do. You start to build out this vehicle that is helping you fulfill your dream that you eventually dreamed about. So how does this affect new homes? The reason I bring in so much stats, the reason I bring in so much information about new homes is because the broker industry has to move into that direction. So before you never thought about it, before you had no vehicle that went that direction, now brokers have to go that direction. Now brokers, the market is too big for brokers not to go into that direction. And I would say there's not enough even good talent in the market that is servicing. And we talk from simple strategies. Just go to the sales office, learn product, learn builders, nationals. Start with one step at a time, building out this vehicle that is giving you that direction of where you're going. Like talk about ADUs, right? That was not even a conversation 5 years ago. Nobody even had that on their radar. Like that was not a need. Now it's a huge need. And now, the comprehensive planning is higher density, period. So ADU topic is going to come up for you and then 20 of your clients. So you have to build the vehicle. You have to learn to solve problems for yourself, but then for 20 other clients. And this is the things I'm doing with my builders. I'm like, okay, we have to do ADUs. So we started to do ADUs. Guess what? Our drafting companies, architects, like we never draw ideas. We'll start drawing some ADUs. Then our engineers are like, well, how do we do this with this whole shared wall thing? I don't know, figure it out. So you're solving problems, but why? The minute you solve it once, the second time is so much faster, the third time, the fifth time. Now, we're putting 20 homes a year out just in ADU concepts. National builders are doing it, local builders are, multi-generational concept. So now 5 years later, we have all of this whole new vehicle. Well, brokers have to redesign their vehicle where they used to not maybe be so focused on new homes where they have to be. That sector is too big for us to ignore it, especially Southwest Washington where we're at. But any metro market that I look at, they have growth experiences, they expand, and all of that has to do with new home sales. And it doesn't matter which sector you attach yourself to. You just have to understand that some aspect of your business has to start overlapping. Just some aspect. And I always say when you look at, the parade of homes, you don't need to take and rebuild the whole parade. Just go and say, I like that light fixture, and if we have that light fixture in our house is going to look better, right? Oh, I like that tile, right? And I want that tile in my bathroom. So all I'm saying is maybe you take just one thing or two things out of all of these lessons and you say, if I just do one or two things, it probably will produce more transactions, and it will. So that's all what we're trying to achieve is we build our vehicle and we're saying, maybe if I do one or two or three things, and those things will complement my business going forward. Any questions?